All right, so as of right now, I'm gonna go over patent US6470214B1, and this is the method and device for implementing the radio frequency hearing effect. These are the inventors, but as we know, everything is a lie or it's an illusion. So these weapons based on the information provided by James Tilly Matthews, the first patient with documented schizophrenia. Um, that was that this is not accurate information. And as soon as I start recording the video, here comes gang stalkers. So, as of right now, the method and device for implementing the radio frequency, and this is what I mean when I say gang stalking. So I'm trying to make a video. They send this person down to talk, so now there's background noise. Anyway, I'm gonna continue because they want me to stop, but this is just what gang stalking is. The patent describes an encoding modulation process carriers suppress AM single sideband approach plus preprocessor filtering and a square root bias step that encodes speech onto an RF carrier so that the RF hearing thermoacoustic sound effect in the head tissue will produce an intelligible perceived audio signal. So this signal in a human listener. So this is how the perps, those three alphabet ORGSs, conduct their voice modulation, voice to skull technology, attacks on certain individuals, targeted individuals. So this is, I gotta be careful with my choice of words because I don't want the video to be flagged. But we go down here, claims and technical. The patent has the primary claim covers a method of pre-processing an audio signal, filtering bias, square root processing, producing a double sideband output at carrier frequency WC and transmitting it to the head so that the RF absorption produces a thermoacoustic replica of the audio signal perceived as speech. And these are the legal statuses. Of course, we know this technology per targeted individual information is still being used today. So no, I don't think on paper, it's expired. Backdoor information, this technology still exists and it is being used for targeted individuals. This is an explanation of the figure. So the acoustic signal is going into the ear. The as shown the outer ear is going to the inner ear to the acoustic part of the brain. The radio frequency to acoustic demodulators so that we can perceive whatever speech or signal that they are sending. And so figure one show how a radio frequency signal can be received by the head. The RF signal enters the head and is converted into an acoustic signal by tissue heating the RF to acoustic demodulator. The acoustic signal then travels into the inner ear where it is processed just like normal sound. The brain perceives it, our brain perceives it as if it were an actual sound entering through the ear, and it's not. It's touching nerves, it's touching your cochlea, it's touching any tissue where the frequency can land, and your brain is perceiving it as audio. We are receivers and we are transmitters. So then we go to figure two, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm pretty sure it's similar, but I understood the first picture a little bit more than number two. Okay, so a spherical RF acoustic transducer is illustrated. Basically, this is a transmitter that radiates energy outward in a spherical pattern. It ensures that the RF energy reaches the head in a uniform way. So it makes sure that once it lands, it sends a signal throughout all of the tissue. To make sure that you hear their voice, to make sure that you hear the voice to skull technology or the nano communication. this signal processing chain. So this is the signal processing chain. Audio pre-distortion filter, square root processor, balance modulator, spherical demodulator, inner ear, and acoustic brain. So this is a signal processing chain. An audio pre-distortion filter cleans up the signal. A square root processor changes the signal so it can be carried more effectively. A balance modulator puts the audio onto an RF carrier wave. The spherical demodulator transmits the RF energy to the head. The inner ear and brain perceives their speech as audio. In short, speech slash audio is mathematically reshaped, put on an RF signal, and then transmitted so the person perceives it as sound. Um, she added this. Okay, so in short, it's the same idea as figure three. There were not four figures, so I don't know what she was talking about. So the overall simple takeaway, these diagrams show how ordinary sound like speech can be transformed into special radio signal. When that radio wave hits a person's head, the body itself turns into sound that the brain hears, even though no external speaker is making noise. So basically, they have created this technology is over based on the information provided by James Tilly Matthews. This technology is over 224 plus years old. They're making it sound like it was just built 60 years ago so they can perpetuate the narrative that MK Ultra and all of that was created 60 years ago, and it wasn't. They've been doing this, curating humanity's narrative for a very long time and targeting whistleblowers and people who want to utilize their rights to speak on truth. So this is how they've been silencing people. And I say they because, again, we don't know who they are, even though we do know who they are.